was so blown out.
Reveal.
I thought you were
Welcome
wearing
to
a
the
shirt
Smart
again.
Adsense podcast. We talk about entrepreneurship, self-development, and challenging norms. Dude,
Don't clam up. Don't clam up. Right off the bat.
I came in hot. I started taking all my notes on what we talk about. And I realized we haven't talked in almost a month. It's not good. 3-4 weeks. Adds up a lot in the queue, and I don't know where to start. I'm overwhelmed.
Pop, you cut out until 3-4 weeks. I have a feeling it's because we're really behind on the podcast. See, the problem with Riverside here is we do our magic reveal, right, for the people on YouTube. The problem is when you do that, the video, it just starts uploading so much video to the World Wide Web that everything gets bogged down. Hey,
No,
onward and upward. Onward and upward. I don't know what you said.
It doesn't really matter. We just have a lot of pod because we haven't talked in a while. So we're going to shoot more of these. Slick Rick, my dad says the 20-minute episodes are ideal. We got to shoot for that.
Daily.
How do we do these?
Dude, I would have a lot of pod if I knew what the format of this podcast was. I would.
Don't challenge the dictator, dude. Do not challenge the dictator. Well, here's I'm gonna throw a theme at you. We're gonna go thematically.
Wait, let's go thematic. But wouldn't it be kind of funny if 8 years go by and the format of this podcast ends up being it's formatless? We just never figure it out.
I don't think we will. We're on track. It's been almost 3 years shooting this podcast. 2.5.
Yeah, and we got close for a while.
It got so close and then diverged. Hasn't come back. I still want to shoot. For context, it's February 16th. I still want to shoot the 2020 recap, 2022 recap.
It's almost 2024. It's almost 2024.
Fuck, where are we? Someone's gonna have
thematic.
to
Come on,
mute
give
that.
the people a theme.
The theme is how do we make money? I think that's been the theme of the last 6. But here's what I realized too, because
it's my least favorite theme.
I know, but we're gonna figure it out. We're really close. One of the last pods that dropped, which is months old, it was telling the story of how I met Ashley, your mom, Ashley, singular, your mom. That's a good story, but I kept it at the end of the pod, and the average watch time on these was like 2 minutes. So I don't think anyone made it even close. So I don't know, but somehow the juice has to come at the start.
No, it's good because it's like your little secret with the 4 people that made it to the end.
Right. There are a lot of nuggets at the end, like the billionaire bus story that we talked about. That's just deep, and someone's going to find that one day. But until then, it doesn't matter. I kind of had a couple.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. If you're ever blocking in the first 4 minutes of the podcast, we're in trouble.
So on my list of agenda items, I have like 30 things. I'm trying to find the through line as we always talk about. Okay. So why do we need to make money?
Oh, really?
Let's start there. So in December, we had a little bit of an off month because Belky, he took off. I took the reins. And somehow, I didn't even know it was possible. Our revenue plummeted beyond levels imaginable. Like almost a third of what we're currently doing. So we were always wondering.
It's because you had to do customer support, bare minimum customer support. You shut it down, sent everyone's money back.
Yeah, the refund thing, that's not good. But point is, we made like 57 grand that month, and expenses were well over 100. So
57
intake, dude. And that's a problem. Then we took out a bunch of loans, and even after the loans, we're like barely making payroll. I'm like, why is that? Oh, because we were down 50 grand. But it means I'm gonna get reimbursed on my taxes. They're gonna send me money back because they're like, you paid way too much. You're poor. So
that's how it works.
I don't know how I'm gonna rent an apartment ever again.
So Clipped operated at a loss last year, and basically all of my distributions, all of my income was written down because half of Clipp's dirty loss is mine.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I made like $18,000 last year.
And living in like a $5,000 a month apartment.
No, but this is the crazy thing about, like, I guess owning a business, or probably even more so if it's real estate. Like, it's just numbers. I didn't actually pay myself $18,000, but when everything is eked out at the end of the year, like, that's what it looks like on paper.
Yeah, I don't
Totally legal.
I still don't fully trust the system, but that's what the accountants tell us. So yeah, money, not a lot coming in, a lot going out.
The reason that system is the way it is because the U.S. government is betting on the fact that Clipped is profitable one day. And when she's profitable, she better be really profitable.
Watch out, dude. She's going to come out of nowhere because we're cracking codes. So we're not making much money. I'm at an all-time high of spend for a couple reasons. One, I'm trying to stalk people by attending a gym that I don't work out in. Very expensive gym. Two,
I got a tour. It's nice.
I got a studio and just bought, I think we bought $5,000 of furniture and lighting over the past 4 days. And that's all going, because it's a giant space.
Huge space for 25.
I don't leave my apartment, so does it make sense? It doesn't really make sense, but that's fine. Just a couple grand a month that I'm also paying now. But these are investments, right? These are investments in the long term, but short term, we need money. The cool thing though is the one day out of this month that I've actually gone into the studio to try and work, even though I realized I didn't have a desk or a chair, so I just kind of went home after that, was I go in, it's just me and our other friend, Hunter. We're chilling, and like it's this new giant space, and there's a loft, and you can't see, like when you're working, you can't see the door. It's like behind some wall. So we're just working, and like the door jingles, and then I'm like, "Yo, Hunter, I think someone's there," and we just hear footsteps, and it's kind of spooky. And then in comes Zach, who's like our other person. He comes and grabs something and then leaves, and then like 10 minutes later, the same thing happens. Door opens, jingles, and just footsteps, like boots walking in. I'm like, dude, I'm like kind of scared. I'm like, whoa, I don't know this place.
That's bad feng shui.
I'm looking at Hunter.
That's bad feng shui.
It's cool.
If you can't see the doorway,
here's what happens. You get surprised Christmas presents because in walks Casey Neistat.
Oh, yes. Investment. It's an investment.
Dude. Day one in this new place, just chilling, thinking it's an axe murderer. In walks Casey Neistat. And he's like, yeah, boys, anyone want to grab lunch? And we're like, oh, we just ate. Sorry, Casey. And he's like, oh, okay, that's all good.
And it's not an investment. It's not an investment.
I had a sweet green right before going, so I was on a full tummy. But he tells us a lot of cool stories about like his billionaire travels because he went to some like elite summit. And I don't want to disclose too many of the details, but it's just like cool because I was also thinking like he walks in the door and now it's like, okay, this dude ran YouTube. Like he's the biggest guy on the platform for like a decade. He's just hanging out. It's just us three in the room. And I'm like in my chair, like I was just working, but now my full attention's on him. And I'm like actively thinking like, do I turn my body to fully face Casey or is that too try hard? Should I do like a slight like obtuse angle or acute or like I'm just like tweaking out in my head because I'm like, this is Casey telling us crazy stories and I don't know what to do with my body. And I just like nod and wave. Occasionally I'd pipe in. But it's mind boggling because like our other buddy Hunter, I should start going into the studio because he's like, yeah, yesterday Casey just came in and hung out for 3 hours and we just shot the shit about like business ideas. I'm like,
3 hours.
Because it's like they're right next door. So he just bops in between. And like the crazy thing about 368 is if you're on a different floor, you need a fob to get in that floor. So we can't go to different floors. So that's the beauty of like being on the same floor is like he's just there every day.
Jangle.
So I'm like, okay, this is something's gonna happen. And Hunter today, he's like working with these big fintech people, or like was just on a call, and they have crazy budget because they're $1 billion company. They spend like $1 million a year, and they're coming into the studio. So like people are gonna be coming in, and I'm gonna sniff something out. But we might not be in the ad business. That might not be our thing. Because
It might not be.
you've been on calls. You've been on a lot of calls.
A lot of ad calls.
No. Well, we did have. Did we talk about 49 on 26?
We can't.
Did we?
We can't.
That was deep in my notes. I don't think we ever covered 49 on 26.
We can't, Bob. They're gonna listen.
They're not gonna listen, dude. They're so tapped.
If anyone's gonna listen to this pod, it's 49 on 26. Because they got nothing else going on.
Well, okay.
They might even know what that means. 49 on 26.
We don't have to talk about the ads, people. That's fine. It's just an old dude hooking up with a young chick. If you didn't get the numbers, and that was one of the people that wanted to work with us, but they're tapped.
It sucks.
So instead of doing an ad,
wait, can I tell a funny finding there?
Yeah,
because we're like, okay, my segment. We're like going to try and figure out selling ads to these companies, and we're like, God, this just really sucks. All the back and forth sucks. So we're like, let's get an agent. So we find a little agent, someone we're connected to in a little group, and that agent goes in, starts selling the same deals we're talking about. But now instead of back and forth with the companies, agent doesn't know anything, and it's all back and forth through the agent. So now there's like 3 people involved, and it's like, God damn, like we didn't get into this business to be negotiating all day long over stupid ad deals that we don't care about.
And they don't even know what they're selling, this agent, because they didn't properly ask us questions about what the product is. And it's just like, we try and think, because sometimes, take for example, this is a VPN company. It's like, oh, we're going to do, I guess we could do a couple different shorts on VPNs, but it's like, you have one company, you tell their company story, but it's like, what do you do after that? It's like, we're not really in the business of doing one-off anything. That's why we've always done like subscription models, everything we want recurring, just to like have some reliable cash coming in all the time. We don't know what we do for people after that first video. We're like, do we just, hey, you have a t-shirt company. What if all our stick figures wear your t-shirts? Would that be of interest to you? $5,000
or
stick figure
or we
t-shirts?
can keep making our stupid stuff, not have any ad dollars or minimal ad dollars. Do things on our terms, kind of like the guys at South Park do, and just freaking figure it out later. The money part.
The issue that we've always run into is like, okay, Clipped is a business that I didn't think was really great, because it's kind of like this half agency, half marketplace thing. Scales linearly, as in like we can charge a couple grand for something, it only costs half of that. So like we'll just make a couple grand a month and scale. But then we'd have like a 400 person marketplace / agency, and it's like, do we want to do that? I don't know. I figured there were more scalable ways to make money, whether it's like some digital course or ads or whatever it might be. But we're kind of realizing
YouTube Shorts, right? So then we get there, we do 130 million views a month, and we make $4 grand a month. It's like, it's not that. It's not what we thought.
You're saying we make? I still haven't. That's still sitting in YouTube's account, dude. I'm still waiting for that. That'd be a really helpful $5 grand to have in my bank account right now, because it's
I bet after going to zero. Bob's Furniture. Yeah.
So. Yeah, Adsense isn't making money, and when we listen to like Colin and Samir, who are kind of the gurus on how to make money as a creator, they're like, hey, that's always icing on the cake, but don't count on that. That shouldn't be a real business. It's like, okay, what is the real business? Apparently ads isn't it. Then we start realizing, hey, there are all these companies that are very similar to what we're doing with slightly different approaches that are making a shitload of money. Like printing cash as in the levels growing that we thought we would do back in the day.
Mad.
Right. And so we know like a handful of them, and Belky's basically been on the phone with all of them trying to like sniff out whether or not they'd want to buy us or just give us tips, tell us how to run better, see how their operations work, and then kind of copy and paste over with us. And I don't know, Belky, this is your segment, but like
my segment, my pod.
Do you want to...
I guess
you want to break down like what you've learned from each, because we came in with the first one. Was the first one Adri?
So
she number 1.
Yeah, growth assistant, which is, we think like just almost exactly the same model as us. way better positioning. They say, hey, you're a company, you've got like a couple $1,000s to spend. You don't want to hire somebody, but you need a growth marketer on your team, and we can match you with that person. They do SEO or paid ads or research. List of 3. That was a list of 3. Almost
That was a
lost
sick
it.
list. Look at the different 3s, though. I love how brains work, dude.
You got Chancleta 3s. And there he is. And, dude, I could just throw out catchphrases to myself.
I'm glad
and they're all overseas.
I don't catch most of them.
They're overseas, and growth assistant, it's like $4,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Same program, same model. So I go and I talk to Adrian because they're 6 times bigger than us. More like 10 times bigger than us with people, 6 times bigger cash. I'm just like, what, Adrian, what are your secrets? And she's basically, to make a long story short, she's like, yeah, you could be optimizing the hell out of everyone on your team. You could be squeezing margins by, instead of giving them full time to a client, give them part time to 4 clients. And then I met with another guy that said the same thing. He's like, yeah, just hire these 6 roles and then like do this optimization and like squeeze all the margin you can out of it. And so the more people I talk to with this business model, the more I realize they're all the same under the hood. Simple arbitrage of people, but these folks are way more okay with like the complexity and the hiring and like all this stuff that we're not okay with. So when I talk to them, I'm like, oh wow, we have a really simple business. And it's not broken. It's actually fantastic. So just trying to take some of the lessons from their models and then do it in our kind of anti-goal, simple way.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we were trying to sell the company for this brief period at the start of the year, it was almost like people couldn't believe what was happening. Like, yeah, we spend like a couple hours, like maybe 10 hours a week max on the company, which is like the part-time like monkey could figure out what we're doing. And they're like, no, dude, there's no way it runs automatically like that. Like that wouldn't happen. We'd want to bring someone in and like have them really scale it up and do it right and like squeeze the margins like all these people talk about. But it's like, no, we've designed it so stupidly simple that it can pretty much run itself. And we're actively going to improve that. So it's almost like you could make these optimizations or just keep it simple, and that allows you to reach a bigger scale because it's so simple. There are fewer things that can break. So that's kind of where
this dude I met with, to the selling point, was also like, don't sell it. Like if what you're telling me is true, like you work on this maximum 2 hours a day, it's printing cash. It's your cash machine. It's the reason you can make all this stuff on YouTube that then points back to the machine. He's like, don't disrupt that feedback loop.
Right.
Shane Mack also yesterday told me, like, dude, if you sold it, you would just have to start over again with the next thing. And when you're in this like 0 to 1 million sale phase, like the people you attract to buy your company are like, they're trying to like win one over, or like they're opportunistic.
Well, that's what we're realizing.
You got to get to 10 million, and then the kind of the landscape changes for selling a company.
Right. So there's the selling the company angle, which is, big companies aren't going to waste their time with little peanut companies like us. So you got to hit that scale to even be like on the menu for them. Otherwise you get the sharks.
On the menu, sharks. Nice.
Dude, seafood restaurant. That's nice. That could be our monetization. But the thing with the seafood restaurant versus what we're doing at Clipped is everything funnels really nicely into Clipped. So as we stay the top of the funnel, where it's like we're wearing Clipped shirts, we're maybe mentioning Clipped in our banners, or we're just more so in our videos. We have our stick figures wearing Clipped stuff instead of like, I don't know, Joe's t-shirts. It's like everything points to Clipped, and Clipped is the product that people want. Ooh.
Here's a through line for you.
Okay.
Were you done?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting you to throw an axe of a finger at me, dude. That was sick.
It's one I forgot to tell you on the phone, and it's important because Hunter, Adrian, and Shane, 3 people with 3 similar businesses that I've talked to in the last week, have all said, interject?
My bad.
Feel free?
I'll finish up. I've all said.
They've all said, you're missing a mission. Like, what's the mission here? We like kind of have one, and we don't really plan for the future. But imagine the mission is let's say what we think it is. It's like make learning cool. Well, if that's the mission, then all of this is wrapped up in that. It's our shorts that feed to maybe an email thing where we give away all of our secrets about how to stand out, how to go viral, this, that, or the other. And then if people like that, it's like, oh yeah, you can buy our editors, and those are at clip.co. Kind of forgot my point, but
well,
all three of them were like, what's your plan? Like, what's the mission? Like, you wouldn't want to sell the thing if you knew.
Yeah, because it all feeds into each other. It's the same ecosystem, which like Patrick was saying the same thing with the mission too. It's like have that mission as at least as like a guiding. Patrick Campbell, he worth a couple hundred, or it's worth like at least $100 million because he bootstrapped a badass company. But he said the same thing, like have a mission, have that North Star, and then everything aligns around that. And if it's not aligned, then you cut it out. But it's like Clipped is aligned because sort of our idea is, hey, we can continue hiring constantly, and then if for some reason our quality exceeds that of the editor, like they can't handle that level anymore, we just slip and slide them right down into the Clip marketplace. It's like, now you work with clients, that's fine. Like that's well beyond anything they could ever find on their own. So they're going to love working with you, and they've been trained by us for months. It's like, it's the perfect world. And everyone that comes into Clip, like who's going to go to Clip the website, it's people that saw our amazing animations and want exactly that. So it's like, it's just all, it's almost like selling your byproducts in a sense, if that's kind of like a inhumane way of putting it. But it's just like, we want to keep hiring because there's so much amazing talent. That's like our secret sauce, is figuring out how to hire these people. And then this morning, hearing another company. So the companies we're talking about were Growth Assistant, Squared Away, which is like hiring personal assistants easily, and then the last guy was like
menu,
a website
but it's
design.
It's not a real company.
Okay, well, those three companies, and then this other company which we tried to use is called
Design
Support
Joy.
Shepherd. Design Joy
is another one, but that's just one guy.
So basically Support Shepherd takes a slightly different approach versus like there's sort of these subscription recurring models. Support Shepherd, which we learned this morning, is absolutely crushing it, like multiple millions a year of profit, doing similar stuff to us. They're basically like, hey, Henry, you want to find, I don't know, an assistant or like someone to help with Excel on your taxes or whatever it might be. We're going to go and find in the Philippines, and you basically just pay like a third of their annual salary up front. So call it like, maybe you pay $7,000 and you pay Support Shepherd. They give you these awesome candidates and you just rip, like they're on your team from now on. So that's like the one-time version of what we're doing. So playing with models,
it's actually,
like,
yeah. Just thinking about that model, it's a third of their annual salary.
I think
it's not very much money.
Well, what do we?
Because most of these folks overseas make like, call it, I don't know, $4 an hour. That's like $8,000 a year, I think. So a third of that, like Support Shepherd would make like $2,500.
Who knows? I forget, but call it like, say they're making $5,000 on average a person. So basically, it's just like, that's an interesting model because there are a lot of people. It depends on your demand. But like,
we'll talk about the byproduct. We think about all the people, all the portfolios we look at. Even if we don't hire the people, we have this. Interesting.
Well, that's where I'm like, okay, say you're someone that comes in that can't afford $5,000 a month ongoing. It's like, oh, maybe you just pay like $5,000 up front and we'll give you like someone to rip. But that it's kind of like I don't know. It's just interesting as like sort of a lower end version of what we're doing.
It's it's just like a matchmaking fee.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting.
So that just depends on our demand.
Sam Parr had that thing where I think he was hiring for something and he was like, I vetted 200 people for this thing and I'm only taking one, but the other 198 are super awesome. Like, what do I do with that byproduct?
Right.
And I think someone said like package it up and sell it in an email or something.
And that's the danger with us of when we're hiring and it's like they're basically coming onto our team, there's a higher bar because it means a lot more than just matching someone. So we're going to hire fewer people. Like say we see 50 applicants, maybe we only take one, or 100 applicants, we only take one. It's like, okay, yeah, these other 99, half of those are probably amazing. Like, what do we do with those? Do we have enough demand where we can just say, hey, $5,000 and we'll give you the byproducts, and we can now sell to like low key creators who couldn't afford us normally? I don't know.
That's really interesting.
But that is the absolute simplest one, because we have literally thousands of portfolios of people we've already reviewed. It's like, are we just going to not use any of that? I don't know.
And we have the keys. We have the distribution. We have the demand. And we see all these portfolios. Even if we don't have them, we have the supply.
We just wouldn't want it to cannibalize.
Right. But if it's a different pricing tier, if it's a different, like for Clipped, we're going after businesses, and we're like about to reposition and probably become like more like video editors for startups, super B2B. But what if the consumer tier is, hey, we send you 5 awesome people. If you hire them, you pay us whatever, a finder's fee.
But yeah,
but then you don't have to deal with that.
It's almost like the buyout scenario that Shane Mack was talking about with Squared Away.
Wait, you froze right before buyout.
That feels like the buyout scenario. Like the only reason why you do that is because you want them super long term. I don't know. Just we'll talk about it after the call, after this. But like, just a lot of different models. But what we always lean towards is simplicity, and that's going to allow us to hit scale. And then once we make enough money, so say we have an extra like 50 grand a month in cash, then we can comfortably hire an operator who can really grow it, put in like the automations, handle the wait list for emails, like actually run a good company so that we can focus entirely on content. And then it should just be printing cash.
But, and as I've talked to these people, if we've really nailed product market fit and we work out some of these kinks, some of these little systems kinks in the next few weeks, it doesn't take a seasoned founder to run and grow the thing. It just takes someone who will show up and execute. So like the beauty of Squared Away, this guy Shane Mack, so they match people with
like
virtual
10 million
assistants.
A year or something, and
they do 10 million revenue a year. Yep. I think I probably can't say their profit, but they match virtual assistants who are military spouses up with businesses. The way that business started was Shane had hired a virtual assistant on Zirtual, this website Zirtual. Zirtual blows up. His virtual assistant was going to be out of a job. He hires her directly. She has a couple other military spouse friends. So it's really her story and her mission that drove the thing. They tinkered on it for like 2 years. He was trying to give some friends military spouse virtual assistants. And then finally he was like, hey, Michelle, you want to just run it? She has no like background in building companies, like none of that. And she just executed way harder. And so, yeah, they're at 10 million. A lot of complexity there, but
that's kind of where
I'd be happy to be at 5 million with all the simplicity, you know. That's kind of always been our MO. It's like, well, if we have no headaches, we're cool with half as much or whatever it is.
Right.
Anything you want. There's one for the OGs.
Plugs a book.
There's one for the OGs.
Derek Sivers. Hey, I think, I got a lot of stupid nuggets left and right. We don't have to cover them now, but we should shoot more. We should shoot more, Belky. That's what I'm saying. We should shoot probably tomorrow.
Should.
That 2022
we probably should. We should also let the people know what they're going to find when they listen to an episode. Sometimes you never know.
Oh, dude. You know how I take feedback poorly. Hey, that's all I got. Coming up on 30 minutes.
That's it. Retention.